Hi there, this is Dr. and welcome to Wrestling Time Post Show. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024, and tonight I'll be talking about Monday Night Raw. Tonight's Raw was a go-home show to Money in the Bank, and it featured the last qualifying match for the men's Money in the Bank. So it was Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Ilja Dragunov. Now, I thought this was a really great main event, really great match here. Now, I was kind of thinking that Drew McIntyre was going to win this. And I was right. He did win this. And at the end, he basically cut a promo saying that he's going to win and cash in Toronto and walk out in Toronto as world champion. Now, earlier in the night, Drew McIntyre cut a promo basically saying that he was screwed out of the world title twice by Punk. And he was going to be world champion, and basically no one can stop it. And one of the things that I found interesting about this promo was that it was sponsored by Modelo. And as we all know, CM Punk is a straight edge, which means he's drug-free, he's alcohol-free. Incredible match. Felt like a PLE main event. It did feel like a PLE main event. And, so I'm really happy this match main evented. I really like that power slam that Sheamus did to Drew McIntyre and then the 10 beats to the Baron. But that interception with the Claymore, that was really, really cool. Now, I honestly think the reason why Drew McIntyre won this is because this entire time, remember last week, Drew McIntyre has said that CM Punk is going to CM Punk basically said that Drew McIntyre basically said that CM Punk is going to watch him win Money in the Bank. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think that somewhere in the Money in the Bank match, CM Punk is probably going to cause Drew McIntyre this match. And if CM Punk gets medically cleared, it'll probably be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam, assuming he gets medically cleared by then. But yeah, this was an incredible main event. And I honestly think Drew, like he mentioned in that promo, he said he got screwed twice, he's going to get screwed a third time. Didn't know. Okay, botch. It was a botch on my part, okay? So that's what I think. But overall, great main event. All right, so tonight's Raw kicked off with the Jey Uso, Chad Gable, and Nikki Kross segment. So I really like the interaction between Jey Uso and Chad Gable. Next week, they're going to be facing each other in Raw. Add that to my list of botches. Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I like about this is that apparently, according to Chad Gable, yeet is not a word. It's not a word apparently to him. And, honestly, I feel like Jey Uso and Chad Gable are probably the favorites on the men's side to win this. I think I'm going to go with Chad Gable. I don't know. I just feel like with Jey Uso, the trajectory on his part, I think he's going to reunite with Jimmy. Now, I really like the fact that Chad Gable brings up the fireflies. You guys know during Jey Uso's entrance, they would go like that and show the fireflies. But according to Jey, he gave the fireflies back to the Wyatt family. But Nikki Kross ends up coming out all of this at the very end. She hands Michael Cole another videotape. This kind of reminds me, like I said last week, just reminds me like of The Ring. If anybody has ever seen the movie The Ring, the little videotape, yeah, that's what this reminds me of. And it's a really, really good opening segment. See, I didn't mind this because this segment is not your typical opening segment where someone cuts a promo and then sets up a match, sets up the main event. Yeah, they set up a match, but this match will take place next week, not tonight on Raw. So really did like that. We get Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross, and was not a huge fan of this. I really didn't care for it. Over the Final Testament. Xavier Woods was victorious after he hit the inside cradle to Karrion Kross, but I'm just like, where is this going? Is this going to cause a New Day to split up? Is Xavier Woods going to venture on his own? They even mentioned it on commentary, like Kofi Kingston won the WWE title. Big E won the WWE title. Xavier Woods, what has he done? He's just been king of the ring and numerous time tag team champions, but he has yet to win the big one. So is that where this is going? We're going to split up the New Days. Xavier Woods going to join the Final Testament. Like, really just, I don't care for the Final Testament. And it's just been their booking hasn't been working for me. And at the fact that at the end, AOP get in, you get McIntyre, y'all let Dijak go, but keep this guy, right? Like, I feel like Dijak would have been would have been better in Karrion's spot than Kross himself. Like, where I do think this is going is since they incapacitated Xavier Woods, I do feel like there might be some tension between Woods and Xavier with maybe Kofi Kingston. Maybe Kofi Kingston blaming Xavier Woods for not saving him from that submission that Kross had him in. We get a Judgment Day segment, and one thing that I did find interesting was like Damian Priest had asked Dominik if he had talked to Rhea, and he said that yeah, but Damian makes it known that she's pissed, and of course she's pissed. Like, Liv Morgan is taking everything from her. She took the world title. It seems like she's taking Judgment Day, and now she's trying to take her man. But it was interesting that like Priest, as he was coming in, Liv Morgan was in there. She was playing video games, and I thought it was so hilarious that Carlito was like, "Oh, I'm playing as you, Priest." But the interesting part of this segment was a conversation that Finn Balor and Damian Priest had. Basically, Finn Balor accused Damian Priest of changing since he won that world title. And Priest kind of just smirks. And I do think that Damian Priest has changed. Like I said, if you guys have been watching my reviews, I said like a while back that the Judgment Day was going to break up because Damian Priest is world champion. Like that, and him losing that title is probably going to be the callous. That's going to be the final nail in the coffin for their eventual breakup. I know that they were eventually going to break up, but I think Rhea Ripley's injury kind of sped up the demise of the Judgment Day. See, Mommy's going to end up taking Dom's PS5 away, like a kid who flunked on his report card, right? Priest is going to be out of Judgment Day. I can see that happening. I could definitely see Priest getting the boot from Judgment Day. And I think, what it would be interesting is even if Damian Priest beats Seth Rollins, I could definitely see Judgment Day pulling a Randy Orton. They lift up Damian Priest and then they throw the dumps down and attack him and still give him the boot from Judgment Day. So I could see that happening too. There could be a Judgment Day civil war. I can see that because you could have Finn Balor, JD Madonna, and Liv Morgan versus Damian Priest, Rhea Ripley, and Dirty Dominik Mysterio. I can see that. And then Carlito, I don't know where Carlito would go. Probably with Dom since he brought him into the group, but I can see that. So we get a quick Zelina Vega interview, and basically she brings up the fact that she's more interested in chasing the world title than she is interested in chasing Dirty D, and that anyone who ever doubted her will see what a champion look like. So this leads into the women's world title match: Liv Morgan versus Zelina Vega. And this was an okay match. Rey Mysterio and Dominik Mysterio obviously went out there. And once again, like Dominik got a chair here, kind of like what he did with Becky Lynch. The question is, was he helping Liv Morgan, or was he genuinely trying to help Zelina Vega win the women's title here? I think that as much as Dominik denies it, I low-key think that he's helping Liv Morgan. So, but Liv Morgan wins this. I mean, it was pretty obvious that Liv Morgan was going to win this. She's on her revenge tour. And I honestly feel like for Zelina Vega, she hasn't really done much in terms of wrestling. I mean, she's had championship matches, but she keeps losing. I think Dom is really helping them. I think so too. I think he's just faking it because he doesn't want Rhea Ripley to see that. I wonder if this is going to be like a Trish Stratus, Chris Jericho, Christian thing where like Trish and Christian kiss on the ramp. I can totally see that happening with Dom and Liv. That close no cigar again for Zelina, right? I can totally see that happening. Like Rhea's in the ring all heartbroken and Liv and Dom kiss on the ring apron. I mean on the ramp. I can see that happening. So at the end of this, she gets interviewed by Kathy Kelly and basically dedicates all her future victories to her daddy Dom. So again, like I do see a civil war breaking out. Like they said in the comments. Like Io said in the comments, a civil war breaking out between Judgment Day. So Seth Rollins cut a promo. And I actually thought this was a really, really good promo. I think Dom may turn on Rhea. Stranger things have happened. That is true. Stranger things have happened. And it was interesting, and Seth Rollins brings this up, how like confetti fell from the ceiling, which he took it as a sign. But I guess that confetti was left over from the Boston Celtics championship celebration. Now, this segment was interesting because like Finn Balor comes up first, and as we all know, usually Judgment Day does these types of things. Like they set up a trap. Sorry, there's fireworks outside if you guys can hear them. And like then when Damian Priest comes out, he's like not happy. Like Finn Balor attacks Seth Rollins, and like you get this moment where like Finn Balor seems really surprised that that Damian Priest pulled him off of Seth Rollins. And he does a South of Heaven chokeslam to Rollins after Balor gets stomped. When backstage, as they're walking backstage, Damian Priest basically tells Finn Balor to stay out of his business. So I do think that somehow, some way, Damian Priest is probably going to lose. Maybe Judgment Day tries to help him, but they actually end up costing him the title. I could see that happening too, and have him get really mad. But what do you think is going to happen? Does Judgment Day accidentally cost Damian Priest the match, or does Damian Priest lose on his own? And he finally realizes that he does need Judgment Day, because the whole reason for the stipulation was Seth Rollins telling Damian Priest that he's better than Judgment Day. He's above Judgment Day, and that's the whole reason why he made the stipulation. Because even during this promo, Seth Rollins was saying that Damian Priest will reach his full potential once he leaves Judgment Day. And I also like that Seth Rollins says that Finn Balor is jealous because Damian Priest got the one thing he couldn't get, and that was the title. And that is true. You guys remember, like 2 years ago, I think it was last year, where Finn Balor and Seth Rollins were feuding for that world title, and Finn Balor could just not beat Seth freaking Rollins for that title. No matter how hard he tried, he could not beat him. So I could see Finn Balor being jealous that Damian Priest was the one that got the world title and he couldn't. Remember when Damian cost Finn his title matches with Seth? Maybe Finn doesn't forget too. Yep. I remember that. I think that's what I was referring to right now. Because Finn Balor couldn't beat Seth Rollins. So maybe he'll get his payback. I mean, you guys remember Finn Balor got his payback on Seth Rollins when he gave him that buckle bomb on the barricade. So you get a Kaiser video package, and basically this video package confirms that he does have broken ribs, and he's going to be out for a while. It didn't say how long, but he's going to be out for a while. And it's such a shame because his singles run was just getting ready to take off. Like he was doing really well. And I wonder what happened with Vinci. Like poor him, he got separated, and he faded into obscurity. But I definitely could have seen Ludwig Kaiser being in the Money in the Bank qualifying match had it not been for his broken ribs. So I think he has some unfinished business with Sheamus. We get the last Money in the Bank qualifier for the women. Zoey Stark versus Dakota Kai versus Ivy Nile. Zoey Stark was victorious in this. And I just feel bad for Dakota Kai because, like, if apparently she was like begging for an opportunity during her Twitch stream. Hopefully Kaiser is good by the time they go to Germany. Hopefully they are. I just feel bad for Dakota Kai because I feel like she's never really given a chance to like shine and show what she can really do. I feel like she's always like the mouthpiece, or she just like, yeah, she was tag team champion, but lately she hasn't really done much. So the Wyatt 6 tape was very interesting. Once again, it's Uncle Howdy interviewing Bo Dallas. Surprise Zoey won. But one of the interesting things that he says, and I quote, he says, "Even now, the false prophets parading around belittling their family for their own gain," unquote. And he goes on to say that this is disgusting. They must pay for their sins and his voice of reckoning. So I feel like this is the reason why he targeted Chad Gable, because Chad Gable was belittling the Alpha Academy and exploiting them for his own personal gain. Like, he wanted them to help him become IC champion. So I really like the fact that we get an explanation as to why they're targeting Chad Gable. I wonder if Jey Uso is going to be their next target, because he did say belittling their family for their own gain. I feel like Dakota gets limited opportunities because she's injured a lot, Sally. Yeah, no offense to Zoey. I feel like this fight could have gone to Dakota too. There's mad. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. So, now I don't know if you guys saw the Raw exclusive, but there was a Raw exclusive where Chad Gable, he's talking to the Creed brothers, and they, eventually leave together. So I wonder if it's going to be Chad Gable, the Creed brothers, and Ivy Nile versus the Wyatt 6 here. I think if you want to get the Creed brothers to get some heel heat, the best way to do it is to have Chad Gable call Alpha Academy into the ring, and then you have the Creed brothers beat them down. That's how you get heel heat on the Creed brothers. Speaking of Chad Gable, after this, Chad Gable basically approaches Otis, who's like enjoying his lunch or dinner, and he makes note of the fact that Wyatt 6 is talking about him. And I really like the fact that Otis tells Chad Gable he doesn't hate him, but they're not going to help him because that's his problem. And Chad Gable kind of like manipulated Otis here. He says that he promises to have Otis back if the Wyatt 6 goes after him. So it seems like Chad Gable is trying to manipulate Alpha Academy. I think it's only a matter of time before they unite him and the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile. And I think Chad Gable will probably win Money in the Bank. So next we get Rey Mysterio versus Dominik Mysterio, a rematch from WrestleMania last year. I didn't really care for this match. Like, I'm just over the Dominik versus Rey Mysterio feud. Off Academy and off Volume 4. That's true. But the whole point of this was Liv Morgan came out, and then Zelina Vega came out. And Liv Morgan basically caused Dominik this match. And she's all like telling him afterwards, like, not to be mad at her, and she promises to fix it. Like, she's really like trying to get Tom to like her. But yeah, but wasn't he trying to? I'm just over this feud. We get a really good Sami Zayn promo, and he's basically like talking about how like he's been beaten down and stuff. And of course, Braun Breaker is a part of this. And I like the fact that Braun Breaker says that Sami gained a little bit of his respect because he went looking for him and gave him an opportunity for that IC title where most people just ran away. Now, like, I like the fact how like this whole segment led into an altercation between them, and like there was this one spot where like Braun Breaker does that usual running around the ring, and Sami leapfrogged over him, and he went crashing into the steel steps. I really like that. Also, like the fact when Braun Breaker intercepted the haluva kick into a spear, and then he held up the IC title. I do definitely see Braun Breaker taking that IC title off of Sami Zayn in his hometown. I mean, well, not his hometown, but in his home country of Canada. So, yeah, I think Braun Breaker's going to get booed if he beats Sami Zayn. So you get a damage control interview, and like you could just see how disappointed Dakota Kai is in here. And Nile, Akira, Katana Chance, and Kate and Carter attacked them, so we're getting a 6-woman tag match next week. But just the way that Io Sky was looking at Dakota Kai kind of makes me believe that maybe she's next to get the boot from the group. Because remember, they kicked Bailey out. Maybe Dakota Kai is next. But overall, I'm going to stop there. And that concludes this review because I already talked about the main event. So, sounds like... So if I'm going to go from a 1 to Sean Spears' perfect 10, if this would have been your regular average Raw, I probably would have given it an 8 out of 10. Maybe 7.5 out of 10 because I thought this was a decent show. However, this is a go-home show to Money in the Bank. And as I've always said, the go-home show is supposed to sell you Money in the Bank. It's supposed to sell you the event this week. It's supposed to make you want to pay your hard-earned money to get you to see that show. You're supposed to make you excited for Money in the Bank. I feel like this somewhat did its job, but not too much. Like, I really didn't care for Dominik versus Rey Mysterio. That has nothing to do with Money in the Bank. Seth Rollins caught a good promo. So most of the stuff was pretty good, except for a few things that I wasn't fond of. Like, I didn't care for Karrion Kross versus Xavier Woods. That had nothing to do with Money in the Bank. So over Ray, yeah, me too. So because of that, I can't give this a 7.5 exactly or an 8. So I'm going to go ahead and give this, I'm going to be generous and give this a 6 because this is a go-home show. And I just feel like while the main event might have been fantastic, I just feel like there was a lot. You give it a 7 out of 10? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6.6 because it's a go-home show. It's supposed to make you excited for Money in the Bank. And while there were a lot of interesting things on tonight's show, like with the Wyatt 6 and stuff, there were things that I just felt like were not necessary. Like Rey Mysterio versus Dominik, you could have taken that out. You could have taken out Xavier Woods versus Karrion Kross. You could have taken that stuff out. So... yeah, I wasn't too fond of that. And it would have been a much better go-home show. But with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching and for the continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified whenever I go live or release a new video. And I will see you guys Wednesday after AEW Dynamite. Bye.